Arne Slot ready for a beautiful challenge. PSG boss Luis Enrique confirms injury concerns. Liverpool miss out on Diomande, but £61 million move. A new Origi-style hero could be on the way. A world-class forward is incoming. Another Liverpool legend could be leaving. And Danny Murphy sends a serious warning. Welcome back to LFC Echo Daily, your home of all things Liverpool. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe, like the video, follow the channel and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get into it. Arne Slot ready for beautiful challenge after Liverpool injury boosts. Liverpool head coach Arne Slot says he is looking forward to some beautiful upcoming fixtures, despite the Reds still struggling to find consistency in a tough campaign. With Champions League qualification on the line, Liverpool has to continue picking up points in the Premier League, but now has 2 cup fixtures to contend with in a short space of time following the international break. First, it takes on Manchester City in the FA Cup. It then travels to Paris Saint-Germain in the first leg of a Champions League quarter-final, with Slot admitting that those draws have given his side the hardest possible tasks. All beautiful fixtures to be part of, an excited Slot told club media. I think this is why you play football. It's to be part of these games because everybody's talking about them. When I wasn't working here, I was always looking forward to Liverpool against Man City or Man City against Liverpool. And PSG for the last 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10 years, they've become a big force in Europe. So playing them now is also nice. Then, of course, the big derby against Everton is nice. And in between, we have Fulham, a very important game as well. Unfortunately, we play Paris Saint-Germain first on Wednesday, then secondly on Tuesday. That means 3 games in 7 days. But that is part of the end phase of the season. Most of our players did play in the international break, but not all of them played twice for 90 minutes. Alexander Isak is set to return to team training today, while Mohamed Salah and Federico Chiesa should be fit for Saturday's trip to the Etihad Stadium. Jeremy Frimpong is set to undergo a scan on the injury he sustained on international duty, but Slot says the Liverpool squad is generally in a good place. I expect them to be ready for the programme we are going to face, he continued. I hope and expect we can be the team that we were against Galatasaray. That's also what we need to be, because Manchester City has shown one day after we played Brighton, which we all knew and which they have shown many times this season, when they won the League Cup, how good of a team they are, how many good players they have and how good a manager they have. It's a very nice game to look forward to. As things stand, Liverpool is inside the top 5 spots. Regardless of what happens in the Cups over the next week and a half, the Reds simply have to find a way of getting back into the Champions League again next year. We've shown so many times this season that we can be a very good team, Slot added. Unfortunately, we've also shown this season a few times that we look vulnerable and we have to get the best out of ourselves, as we've had many times this season. But that's what we need, definitely again, in the upcoming weeks to do what we want to do, and that is to continue our run in both Cups and qualify for the Champions League next season. In another news, Luis Enrique confirms PSG injury worry before Liverpool Champions League visit. Barcola has an ankle issue and didn't link up with the French national team during the March international break. But speaking ahead of PSG playing Toulouse on Friday, Enrique insisted there was no rush to get him back in time to be involved in the Champions League first leg at the Parc des Princes. Will he be fit for the second leg against Liverpool? I don't know. I can't give you that information, Enrique said. You can't ask Bradley Barcola that question. When I speak to him, I ask him how he's feeling. But there's no rush. The most important thing is that he recovers well. When will he be ready? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how he progresses. A key member of the PSG squad, Barcola, has started all 12 of its European matches since the start of the season. In those games, he has scored 2 goals and provided 3 assists, while PSG is playing this weekend on Friday night to give itself more time to prepare for the home leg against Liverpool. It will not have a game next Saturday or Sunday. Ligue 1 postponed its huge title clash with Lens to allow PSG more time to prepare for the trip to Anfield a few days later, something that didn't go down well with the second-place side in the French top flight. On March 6th, the scheduling of the match pitting Racing Club de Lens against Paris Saint-Germain was finalised, formalising a framework to which everyone was then invited to adhere, it said. In a spirit of responsibility and restraint, Racing Club de Lens, from the very first requests, made it known to Paris Saint-Germain its intention not to see this date changed. True to a certain idea of sporting stability, the club had also chosen to refrain from any public communication on this subject. However, the recent proliferation of statements, interventions, and various suggestions now leads us to break from this reserve. It does indeed appear to us that a troubling sentiment is taking hold, that of a French championship gradually relegated to the status of an adjustment variable at the whim of the European imperatives of some. A singular conception of sporting equity, the equivalent of which is hard to find in other major continental competitions. Changing the date of this match today would mean, for Racing Club de Lens, being deprived of competition for 15 days and then chaining matches every 3 days, a rhythm that corresponds neither to the one defined at the start of the championship nor to the resources of a club that could absorb this type of new constraint without consequence. It would therefore be understood that the 10th budget in the championship should adapt to the demands of the most powerful in the name of interests that evidently now extend beyond the domestic framework which has already been lightened in recent seasons. L1 reduced to 18 clubs, discontinuation of the Coupe de la Ligue. Beyond this particular case, the question raised is more fundamental, that of the respect due to the competition itself. For it is permissible to wonder when, on its own soil, the championship sometimes seems relegated behind other ambitions, however legitimate they may be. Racing Club de Lens remains committed to equity, the clarity of rules and respect for all stakeholders, simple principles for a loyal and respected French football. In another news, Yan Diomande to Liverpool blow as Arne Slot gets green light for separate £61 million transfer. Liverpool may have to break the bank to sign transfer target Yan Diomande, as the RB Leipzig star does not have a release clause. The forward has been identified as a potential replacement for Mohamed Salah, who is leaving at the end of the campaign. Arne Slot and club transfer chiefs are now on the search for a replacement, with Diomande coming on their radar. However, it's understood this will be costly, as he is contracted at the club until 2030 and does not have a release clause. This means the Bundesliga side have the ability to command whatever transfer fee they like. However, in a separate negotiation with the club, Leipzig may be willing to cash in on young central defender Castello Luqueba, who is also on the Reds' radar. The defender has been impressive for Leipzig ever since he arrived from Olympique Lyon 3 seasons ago. It's reported he has a release clause of around £70 million, but a £61 million bid may be enough to convince the club to sell him, according to Sky Sports Germany. Liverpool signed Jeremy Jacquet in January for £60 million and loaned him back to Rennes, but the Frenchman picked up a shoulder injury which required surgery. Should his long injury extend into the start of next season, Slot would likely want an option in the shape of Luqueba to call upon. While Leipzig are reportedly willing to sell Luqueba, they are more reluctant to part with Diomande. He boasts 10 goals and 7 assists in 26 Bundesliga appearances this season. It's also claimed that Leipzig plan to commit Diomande to a new contract, which will increase his pay greatly. He was initially signed to a rookie contract, but his excellent displays are set to result in him getting a substantial pay increase. Sky Sports Germany has also claimed the club would prefer to sell him in the summer of 2027, similarly to when they held on to Benjamin Sesko for another season before selling him to Manchester United. Salah has 7 Premier League matches left as a Premier League player, as well as any future games in the FA Cup and the Champions League. The club are still in with a chance of winning the latter too. Slot side travel to the Etihad Stadium to face Manchester City on Saturday. This is then quickly followed by the first leg of their Champions League quarter-final tie against Paris Saint-Germain on the following Wednesday, before the Reds play host to Fulham in the Premier League 3 days later. In another news, Liverpool's next Divock Origi is locked in their sights. Divock Origi played a vital role for Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp. He was the super sub, the player Klopp could turn to in order to change the match and find an elusive goal. Origi scored some of the most important goals in Liverpool's modern history as a result. A brilliant option, and one the Reds sorely lack right now. There is no reliable goal scorer from the bench. Liverpool simply don't have one, and even if Alexander Isak were to return, we're still not sure they'd have one as a bench option. The plan, after all, is surely for Isak to play with Hugo Ekitike, but it does sound as though Liverpool are eyeing up an option here. Sportsboom report that the club have eyes on Marcos Leonardo, who could soon leave Al Hilal. Leonardo, who was linked with Liverpool back when he played with Santos, has 10 goals in 14 games this season, and it apparently a target for a few Premier League clubs. But there's little doubt what his place would be at Anfield. The Brazilian isn't getting in the 11 ahead of Isak and Ekitike. He'd be an impact player, someone to rotate into the lineup or bring from the bench in order to add fresh firepower. And as we know from Origi's time, that's a valuable player to have. This is one to watch then. Leonardo could end up filling a very important role for Liverpool if they can get a deal done. Marcos Leonardo, situation summary, Al Hilal performance and role. Marcos Leonardo has enjoyed a prolific first full season in Saudi Arabia, following his €40 million move from Benfica in late 2024. As of April 1, 2026, the 22-year-old Brazilian striker has established himself as a clinical presence for Al Hilal, recording 15 goals and 1 assist across all competitions. This tally includes 10 goals in the Saudi Pro League and 3 in the AFC Champions League Elite. Despite the heavy competition for places following the arrival of Karim Benzema, Leonardo has maintained a high level of performance, averaging a goal roughly every 117 minutes. His mobility and technical ability have made him a vital asset in Al Hilal's pursuit of domestic and continental silverware. Transfer speculation and future. Despite his success in Riyadh, rumours regarding a return to Europe have intensified as the summer 2026 transfer window approaches. Reports on April 1st indicate that Tottenham Hotspur is heavily scouting Leonardo as a mobile striker to replace Randal Kolo Muani, with a potential price tag starting at £55 million. The player is reportedly open to a Premier League move to boost his chances of becoming Brazil's first-choice striker for the 2026 World Cup. While a winter move to Sao Paulo or Flamengo failed to materialise due to salary disagreements, a permanent exit from Al Hilal looks increasingly likely this summer, with Liverpool also reportedly monitoring his situation as a high-potential attacking option. In another news, world-class forward is coming to Liverpool. The 22-year-old came on board with a lofty reputation, considering his rise under Xabi Alonso at Bayer Leverkusen. Wirtz was the chief instigator in Leverkusen's 2023-24 unbeaten German League and Cup double win, and turned down Manchester City and Real Madrid in favour of moving to Liverpool. It's fair to say it's been a sluggish start for the Germany international, who is yet to truly deliver on a consistent basis. Whether that's down to a lack of form or misuse from Arne Slot is very much up for debate. But there is no denying Wirtz's class, and it's just a matter of time before he starts to bring it on a regular basis for his club. Wirtz is sensational on international duty. We got a glimpse of Wirtz's quality over the international break when the national Mannschaft played 2 games against Switzerland and Ghana. Although Wirtz was a little subdued against Ghana on Monday, he stamped his talent all over the game against the Swiss in Basel. Wirtz scored 2 unbelievable goals and assisted 2 more as Julian Nagelsmann's side ran out 4/3 winners in a pulsating friendly. It sets Wirtz up as the 4-time World Cup winner's great hope heading into the summer tournament in North America. And it's the kind of display Arne Slot needs to be watching in order to formulate the best possible plan for the £116 million investment. Liverpool have got Wirtz coming back in world-class form, especially in the international match in Basel. Wirtz demonstrated just how valuable he is to the German national team, a report in Kicker reads. With 2 magnificent goals and 2 assists, the Liverpool FC forward, who had a difficult first half of the season at his club, was the man of the match in the 4/3 victory. Unstoppable for the opposition, always available for his teammates. A brilliant performance that showed Wirtz embodies world-class talent like no other player currently in Julian Nagelsmann's squad. Time for Slot to use Wirtz properly. It's staring Liverpool in the face. They've been told they've got a world-class talent at their disposal, and it's now down to the head coach to figure out how to use him. Nagelsmann likes to utilise Wirtz as his left-sided attacker, but not an out-and-out winger. Instead, he drifts into the left-sided half space, where he can wreak havoc with his playmaking and shooting ability. It's perplexing just how inconsistent Wirtz has been under Slot, given his talent, but hopefully it all comes together in the closing stages of the season for the talented No. 7. In another news, Liverpool set to say goodbye to another club legend. Calcio Mercato reports that AC Milan are pushing to sign Andy Robertson. The Scots' contract expires in the summer, and as things stand, he'll leave Liverpool. That would be a blow, certainly. Robertson has been a true club legend for Liverpool and will go down as one of their greatest fullbacks ever. But this summer is shaping up to be the finale for many. Mo Salah will leave, while Ibrahima Konate and Alisson Becker have uncertain futures too. It's Robertson, though, who now looks the most likely to follow Salah. This Milan interest is a sign the Scots agent has not told other clubs that a Liverpool deal is likely. That's something, for instance, that happened with both Virgil van Dijk and Salah last year. The pair of them broke off talks with other clubs to exclusively negotiate with Liverpool. Robertson doesn't appear to be doing the same. It's a sign that a new deal isn't particularly close, and this late in the day, that feels like a huge sign that he'll be off. And it will be emotional. Andy Robertson, situation summary, reduced role and tactical shift. Andy Robertson's influence at Liverpool has shifted significantly during the 2025-2026 season under Arne Slot. The 32-year-old vice-captain has largely lost his starting spot to summer signing Milos Kerkez, resulting in his lowest involvement since joining the club in 2017. As of April 2026, Robertson has been limited to just 6 Premier League starts, totaling roughly 770 minutes of league action. While he remains a vital leadership figure in the dressing room, his primary contributions have come as a rotation option or in cup competitions, including a goal in a recent FA Cup victory over Wolves. Expiring contract and future plans. With his contract set to expire in June 2026, Robertson is entering the final weeks of his tenure at Anfield. The Scotland captain has publicly stated that he will finalise a decision on his future before the 2026 World Cup to ensure no distractions during the tournament. While Liverpool has reportedly considered a short-term extension, a departure as a free agent appears increasingly likely. Tottenham Hotspur remains a persistent suitor after a failed January move, while a sentimental return to his boyhood club, Celtic, continues to be a major talking point as he evaluates his next steps. In other news, Danny Murphy pinpoints bigger Liverpool concern than being outrun by opponents. Danny Murphy is not concerned by the fact that Liverpool are getting consistently outrun by their opponents in the Premier League. But the 2001 Cup-winning hero is worried by the reason he believes the Reds are unable to cover enough ground in their matches. Liverpool stormed to the title in head coach Arne Slot's debut season in charge, and after 5 straight wins to start the 2025-26 campaign, looked well set to defend their crown. But a 2-1 defeat at Crystal Palace on September 27th set in motion a run of results that effectively ended their hopes of finishing top for the second year running. While the Reds' form has improved since that sequence of 9 defeats in 12 games in all competitions, stretching from the last gasp loss at Selhurst Park to the 4-1 humbling by PSV in the Champions League at Anfield, they headed into the international break on the back of 3 winless matches in the Premier League. After a 2-1 defeat at basement boys Wolves, Slot's side had to settle for a 1-1 draw at home to crisis club Tottenham Hotspur before going down 2-1 at Brighton and Hove Albion. Those results have left Liverpool 21 points behind leaders Arsenal and desperately clinging on to 5th place, which is likely to be the final Champions League qualification spot, with Merseyside rivals Everton just 3 points behind in 8th. The reasons for the Reds' struggles in the Premier League are myriad and continue to be pored over by supporters and pundits. And after the loss to Brighton, it was highlighted that it was the 27th time in 31 games that the defending champions had covered less ground than the side they were facing. That includes their previous league fixture against Tottenham, who covered 8.67 kilometres more as they fought back to earn a share of the spoils at Anfield the week before. Murphy isn't worried by those statistics particularly. He has a point too, given the Reds finished in 16th in the distance covered table last season, en route to winning the English top flight for a record equalling 20th time. However, that is not to say the 49-year-old who helped Liverpool to FA Cup and UEFA Cup glory 25 years ago isn't perturbed by what is he watching. "I'm not a big fan of distance running stats," Murphy told the AHO via Casino Hawks. "I think running stats are useful for tracking individual or team levels over a period of 10 to 12 games, as that gives a better indicator. A team could win 4-0 and still run less than their opponents. There are so many caveats. I'm not completely against data. That would be ridiculous, but high intensity is a better measure than distance covered. Are the players running with intensity when they work with the ball and without the ball? That's probably a better indicator for me. The fact that Tottenham might run more than Liverpool in their match because they don't have the ball and are trying to defend and dig in wouldn't concern me at all. However, the actual physicality of Liverpool late in games is a concern. Running stats might show you've covered a lot of ground, but you might not be doing it in the right way at the right time or with the right intensity. For Liverpool in the latter stages of games, there is a disorganisation that creates big spaces. The players are running, but they can't cover the ground because the distances are too big due to poor team organisation. The Reds' 430-mile round trip to Brighton came around 62 hours after they dismantled Galatasaray 4-0 in the Champions League at Anfield to reach the quarter-finals. Slot spoke before the match about the lack of available training time to prepare for the clash with the Seagulls, and afterwards left-back Milos Kerkez admitted tiredness was a factor. "I think they definitely played well and had more chances," said Kerkez, who had equalised at the Amex Stadium. "I think we didn't create as much as we wanted. It was a tough day. I think you could see some of us were maybe a little bit tired, but I don't like using it as an excuse. We know where we are in the standings in the Premier League, and we know we have to push. Of course, it's maybe a bit of an advantage to Brighton, but still, very disappointed that we couldn't win." Liverpool return to action on Saturday when they head to Manchester City for a FA Cup quarter-final, 12:45 p.m. kickoff. They then head to holders Paris Saint-Germain for their Champions League quarter-final first leg on Wednesday, April 8th p.m. kickoff, before hosting Fulham in the Premier League on Saturday, April 11th, 5:30 p.m. kickoff. That's all for today's Liverpool update. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Who should Liverpool sign next? Don't forget to like, subscribe and stay tuned to LFC Echo Daily for more daily Reds news.